Hi there, this is Matt with GrahamVentures. It is camping season. We're in the middle of it, and our last trip to Winthrop, we had a little bit of issues with this guy, the tongue jack. Now, when we went to leave, we blew a couple of fuses and wasn't quite sure what was going on, bought some more fuses, and turns out the thing was seized and wouldn't move at all. Did some troubleshooting, and this is what we found. So check the fuses, which is right here. And it's kind of hard to see, I'm sure, but definitely blown and not working. So I do what I normally do with any sort of problem and started tearing into things. And as you can see here, you can manually try to move this. I wasn't able to at all, it was stuck. And so I took this cover off here, tried to move it here, no moss. Took this cover off, and as you can see, down in there, now it's been cleaned out since then, but it was full of standing water, and this little screw hole right here was completely rusted, and so something wasn't sealed in this thing, and water had gotten inside and seized the gears. Luckily, I was able to get it unstuck for the camping trip. It worked there, and it worked back, but it died again in the driveway. Now, I'm not a big fan of replacing things unless I absolutely have to, but this is a must. But this one is seized and doesn't work. And we talked to the dealership we got this thing from, and they're like, oh, you should have put a cover on it to keep it kind of weather resistant because it rains a lot here in Washington. Nobody told us that initially, or else I would have bought one to begin with. But you think these things would be better weather sealed, but I can't get it to work now after I was finally able to level it once we got home from our last trip. But it's dead. And so I'm going to do an unboxing of our new jack and show you how to install it the best I can. It seems pretty simple. It's already wired, which is nice. So I'm not going from a mechanical to an electric. I'm going from an electric to an electric. So we got the wiring already there. And from the looks of it, it's 3 bolts. Hopefully it's that simple. We'll see. We kind of did some research online and found one that was a decent price and seemed heavy duty enough and was highly recommended. So this is what we end up going with. This is a power tongue jack by Lippert Components. On the specs here, it looks like it has a 3,500 pound capacity, and so that's plenty for our trailer. And a couple of the features, it got some LED lights. We have that on the old one, which I really wanted. It's got an emergency crank through socket, so hopefully it doesn't seize up like this last one. It says it resists fading, increased UV protection, removable foot pad. So let's open this thing up and we can show you what's inside. Looks like we got some instructions in here. Looks like we got the manual crank, and actually this is pretty nice. The one that it came with doesn't seem very heavy duty. This one does. Hopefully we'll never need it though. So from the looks of the box, it comes with the jack, comes with this foot plate, this, and the actual jack itself, and it mounts with 3 bolts, which we already have on the existing jack. So I'm hoping it'll be like for like in the installation. This is what it looks like up close. Power tongue jack, got our electrical, and it's nice because it's got the LED light. Our old one has this too, and I didn't use it a ton, but it is nice when it's dark so you can kind of see what you're doing. Not sure if the camera caught it, but this is the hardware kit it came with. So it does come with 3 bolts. Looks like they're the locking type, as well as here's the pin for the foot. Not much to the unboxing, a couple pieces, but I like simple, which is good. This looks simple, it looks user-friendly so far, fingers crossed. Now we're gonna install it for you. Now let me give you one word of advice. If you don't know what you're doing or can't do it safely, do not try this. I'm actually gonna have to lift this thing up with my floor jack and support it so it doesn't come crashing down, because this is what supports the front of it, is that tongue jack. So if you're gonna undertake this yourself, be very, very careful. If you don't feel comfortable or if it seems too dangerous, not worth it. Have a shop do it. Okay, we got it up and supported with the jack. And I also got some jack stands on the other side just for a little bit added insurance. It's not pretty, but it works. There's a pretty long throw to get up there. So I got a couple blocks, and as you can see over here, if anything were to slip, I got a couple jack stands, so it's not gonna go too far, and that should be able to catch it. And as you can see, got it off the ground. And so now it's just a matter of, from the looks of it, these 3 bolts, I'm gonna take them off, maybe by hand or maybe with an impact driver if they're too hard, and then swap it out for the new one. Okay, this thing looks sufficiently loosened. I got the 3 bolts. It's nice that it's just 3, and I should hypothetically just be able to pull this thing out. Took the old foot off, and then 1, 2, 3, yeet! Looky there. This thing's not very heavy, but that's the old one. Let's put the new one on. Now, I kind of loosely read the instructions. It's pretty simple. As you can see, these new bolts, the old ones had washers, kind of crush washers to hold it down. These ones have these little knurled things, if you can see there. Let's see. There we go, better view of it. Has the knurled thing, should hold it on there. I'm a fan of only doing things once and doing it right. And although it doesn't call for it, I'm gonna use some blue thread locker just as some added insurance. If you have a bolt, you don't wanna come out or back itself off or have to retorque necessarily. This is a lifesaver. I've used it in automotive applications. Just put a little bit, it's a little tiny dab on the threads before you thread it in there, and it should lock it down even better and keep it from backing off, because that's all we don't want is another repair. It was a like-for-like replacement. I just set it in there, which was nice. Slid right in, no problems, same size. I'm assuming these things are pretty universal, which makes it nice for replacement. And I'm gonna put my bolts on. Gonna hand tighten these, put the shoe on, do a little wiring, and we are almost there. So the tongue jack is installed as far as the bolts go. I didn't torque them to anything specific, German torque specs, guten tight. But yeah, now I just got to do the wiring and put the foot on. It comes with a new holder, and so I got to find a good place to splice it and make sure it's weather resistant somehow. But yeah, they give you everything, so we're getting close. Pretty simple wire connection. Use one of these yellow ones. It's a pretty large gauge wire. And then to weather seal it, I'm going to use my good friend Gorilla Tape. I was trying to think how to kind of make sure it's weatherproof and doesn't get corroded down there in the electrical connections. But this stuff is very, very weatherproof. I've used it on all sorts of applications. As you can see, the roll was quite large and now it's small, but this Gorilla Tape works pretty good in sealing any sort of leaks you have, because it's keeping water in and out. And so hopefully wrapping this stuff around there will keep it sealed up and out of the elements. We'll see, fingers crossed. As you can see, I got it spliced there. And I ended up using the old fuse holder just because it was a better place to cut it than with the new one. It's the same 30 amp fuse. So we're gonna seal that up with the tape, and then gonna have to give it a test run here with the foot in just a moment. And I added a couple zip ties just to keep the wire and everything in place. There was some on there before, and so I don't want that thing flying all over the place.
Engineer, where are you headed? Carry me back to Tennessee. Oh, I got a little girl.
We are getting close, and I am excited. We're losing daylight now, but we're getting close. And plus, we're going on a trip in a week, so I have to get this done amongst many other things before we can actually leave. So everything's connected. Gonna throw the fuse in it, give some power, and it should go down. Fingers crossed. It's gonna go down. Now for the moment of truth. Oh, there's some light. We got power. We got sound. And my calculations are correct. Oh yeah, look at that action right there. Okay, let's put the foot on. and go all the way down with this thing and get off this jack. Okay, we're gonna go down all the way and end up lifting this up all the way. And that's how you do it. Tension's off the jack and the wood. That was relatively easy install, so, which is a good thing. There's usually some sort of problem that comes up or issue, but this thing fit, wired it in just fine. One caveat, this is going from electric to electric, so basically a like for like swap out, versus if you went from like a manual to an electric, you'd have to run the electricity, which I didn't have to do. It was already up here. And so it went well. It seems to function just fine. This is the LCI power tongue jack. We're gonna put it through its paces in the upcoming months. We got a lot of camping trips. So we'll show it in action. I do have a cover, which I'll show you here in a moment. If I knew they needed a cover, I would have got one to begin with when we outfitted this beast. But that being said, live and learn. Old one got rusted. New one hopefully lasts us a long time. I like doing these review videos. If you find value in it, please give it a big thumbs up. That does help. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. There will probably be more reviews as well as our different adventures that we engage in. Make sure and hit that bell so that you can join us on our next adventure. This is Matt for GrahamVentures. And this is the hood for the jack we didn't know we needed. It does rain in the Northwest. No one said, hey, get one of these things, but I'm gonna keep this one from rusting for sure with this thing. So if you live in a wet climate, I would recommend it so that you don't have to go through this and can just watch this video for pure recreational purposes, not because you have to do it yourself.